Welcome to another couples clinic. I'm Bruce Wadzeck, a minister for the Princeton Church of Christ, trying to share with you some of the insights I've gained with over 45 years of counseling and research on couple interaction and communication. And so this session, I'd like to focus on the idea of the conversation between men and women. How do they differ? What do people want in a conversation? And women will oftentimes say, men just never get it. No matter how many times I say it, they don't get it. Or they may say, what are you trying to say? And men are always saying, what do women want? I don't get it. I never seem to please her with what I do. She's always critical of me. And then the wives oftentimes say, he just never listens. He just doesn't listen. The solution to this predicament is found in two words: love and respect. These are fundamental to effective communication. The male culture emphasizes respect. They're kind of respect-centered, where women emphasize love. They're kind of love-centered. Now, both people want love and respect, but we have to understand the subtle differences between the two to understand why communication might break down and how to better understand our partner as we communicate more effectively with them. A woman wants unconditional love from her partner. Women fear being alone, and they fear being unloved. And so, unless a man takes that into account in his interactions, he'll find himself sabotaging himself. Women seek emotional closeness through considerate words and actions. Women value loving consideration, that as I talk to you, I try to speak kindly, and I try to be considerate, and I'm willing to do little things for you, but to show that you're important to me. And when we do little things for our spouse, that makes them feel loved. And when we talk to them kindly, even if we have differences of opinion, that makes them still feel loved, even though you have differences. A woman wants her partner to open up about his feelings and thoughts. Women interpret silence as hostility. So women are usually much more willing than men. Of course, this is a general statement. There are always exceptions to that. But women usually are willing to talk about how they're feeling about a subject, what they think about a given subject, and they value their partner opening up and telling them how they feel and what they think. And when instead they're met by silence, or maybe even sullen silence, they feel like their partner is very hostile and unwilling to engage in loving interaction. A woman wants her partner to be active and sympathetic listener. A man misses this point when he tries to fix problems that his partner is talking about. Men are unfortunately kind of wired to think, she's got a problem. All right, tell me what the problem is. Well, let me get my screwdriver out and my other tools, and I'll go fix that problem. Or they offer advice. Well, you should do this, you should not do that. Oftentimes, that's not really what women want. What women want is for you to hear how they're feeling. They're frustrated over something, and they want you to hear their frustration. It's not as if they don't know oftentimes what needs to be done or how they should deal with the situation, but they want to know that their partner is a sympathetic listener, that they empathize. You go a long way as a man when you let your spouse know, I understand how you're feeling, how frustrating that must be to you. A work environment situation or stress with the kids or some other kind of issue. When there's a conflict, a woman wants their partner to say, I'm sorry if I hurt you, and I want you to know that I will always love you. So these are very simple words, but what we're saying is not, I was wrong in what I said. Maybe I wasn't wrong. Sometimes I tell my partner the truth and it hurts them. Well, I should be willing to say, I'm sorry if I hurt you. Doesn't mean I was wrong or I didn't state the truth, but sometimes the truth hurts. And if I convey to my partner, my spouse, look, I didn't intend to hurt you by telling you what I did. I'm sorry if I hurt you. And then that reassurance. If there's conflict going on, the first thing that a woman thinks is, he doesn't really love me. And so that's why it's important to say, yeah, we have differences. I'm sorry if I hurt you, but I want you to know I will always love you. A reassurance that even when we're in conflict, even when we don't disagree, even when maybe tempers even flare a little bit, I'm not going to abandon you. I'm not going to stop loving you just because we have some conflict. So, very important to understand what women want in a conversation, interaction. Men want to be unconditionally respected. Now, we hear a lot about unconditional love, which is basically the idea that I'm not setting a bunch of criteria. If you dress this way, act this way, do these things, then I'll love you. But that in advance of what you're going to do, I love you for who you are, without conditions. But we don't hear much about unconditional respect, because most people would say, well, I'll respect you if you act in such a way that you deserve respect. And you did this and that, so therefore you're unworthy of respect. Well, let's turn that back around. How would any woman feel if her partner says, well, I don't love you, obviously, because you did this and you did that. You don't deserve love. Well, the average woman would be completely indignant and terribly hurt by such a statement. And yet sometimes, because love is more important perhaps than respect, they don't realize that their partners need unconditional respect. Look, I'm going to respect you for who you are, even though there are things you do that I don't like and that could cause me to be and act disrespectfully. But instead, I'm choosing to give you the gift of unconditional respect. A man wants his partner to appreciate his efforts to provide and to protect her, and realize these are strong drives in men. And again, instead of taking them for granted, showing respect is when a woman expresses her appreciation for the efforts that he's putting forth, especially in trying to provide and protect his family. A man desires his partner's respect for his attempts to provide leadership for the relationship. When he's trying to think ahead, where are we going in this relationship? And I'm concerned about where we go next, and that men naturally want to provide loving leadership. And of course, if women feel loved, they don't mind men providing that. But oftentimes, what we can get into is a bickering because women interpret or misinterpret men's attempt to try to lead the family or the couple in a healthy and constructive way as simply them trying to dominate and control the relationship. A man wants his partner to listen to the advice he offers and ideas and thank him for his concern. You don't have to do what he says. You don't have to think his advice is the best advice ever given on the earth. You may have serious disagreements, but respect is showing respect for their advice, appreciating the fact that they're trying to offer constructive advice and that they want to be helpful. Therefore, if you are thankful for their concern, they're going to feel respected. A man wants to share his life with his partner, and he wants to be a good companion. So a little difference here is women like more verbal interaction. A man likes a companionship in the sense of being together. You know, we're together in the house. We sit and we're reading together, or we're looking at a movie together, or we're up and we're going somewhere and we're doing it together. This is very important to men, and a man feels respected when a woman wants to spend time with him and time together. A man wants a woman who is responsive to him romantically. Men fear sexual rejection. So this is very important because it's very easy for a woman, when things are not going along swimmingly, to feel cold and resistant to any of the romantic advances of their partner. But in doing so, they are giving strong messages of disrespect and rejection, which is going to cause men to emotionally withdraw even more than they may have up to this point. So understanding the need for love, unconditional love, and unconditional respect. There's a vicious conflictual cycle that often occurs between couples. A man feels disrespected by what his partner says or does, and he withdraws emotionally and becomes inwardly angry. A woman feels unloved because the man has emotionally withdrawn and responds to him by being disrespectful, saying things to him that show no respect. A man is hurt more deeply and responds in a variety of unloving ways, maybe even saying things like, well, I don't really know if I love you anymore, the ultimate cut. When a man interprets a woman's words or actions as disrespectful, he tends to respond in unloving ways. When a woman interprets a man's actions as unloving, she tends to respond in a disrespectful way. This is a vicious cycle. So if we don't watch it, this is what happens. You know, a woman feels unloved, then she's disrespectful. The man feels disrespected, so he becomes unloving. And this is a vicious cycle. So how can we undo this? Get out of this vicious, conflictual cycle. A man needs to be able to interpret what he wants. He can say, I'm feeling disrespected by you when you say or do this particular thing. I want you to know I really love you and want us to be closer. So if men will articulate, you know, a woman may not be aware that a particular way she said something or what she said makes a man feel disrespected. But if a man in a loving way says, you know, when you do this or say that, I feel disrespected by you. And I just want you to know I love you. And I want us to be closer, but this makes it difficult for me. A woman needs to say, I'm feeling unloved by you when you do this or say this. I want you to know I really respect you, and I want us to be closer. So both people are communicating to their partner, yeah, I want to be closer to you. But for me, the issue is feeling unloved. Maybe for you, it's feeling disrespected. But if we will give the gift of unconditional respect and unconditional love to our partner and reassure them of this, that goes a long way to lowering the tension levels and allowing couples to really communicate. You must assume your partner is a person of goodwill and needs forgiveness and understanding, not assume the opposite. Recognize you may be incorrectly decoding his or her messages to you. Put your energy into understanding what your partner intends. In other words, it's not just so much what they say, but what was their ultimate intent? What did they mean? What were their intentions? And again, you can only find that out if you're a good listener and you ask questions. You can start the opposite of a vicious cycle by a virtuous cycle of respectful love. Men should focus on communicating unconditional love to their partner. Assume that this is usually the central issue. On a superficial level, there are all these kind of things we're disagreeing about, issues we don't see eye to eye. But underneath it all, at the lowest level, the depths of it, oftentimes women are simply feeling unloved by their partner. The way he talks, the things he does, how he deals with things, they feel unloved. And so women should also focus on communicating respect to their partner, assuming that beneath all the other things we're talking about at a deeper level, what's really bothering the man is he feels like what you're saying, the way you say it, what's at issue, how you deal with him, that you really are not respectful of him, have no respect for him. And so, consequently, if we give the gift of unconditional love, if we give the gift of unconditional respect, that can begin a virtuous cycle of the other party responding in like kind. This does not solve everything automatically. Each couple needs to develop some good conflict resolution skills, but when you create an environment of respectful love, then it's going to be a lot easier to resolve differences that you have. Couples get caught up in the feeling unloved or disrespected. Then every issue, whether great or small, becomes a part of this negative view of the partner, perhaps a fundamental misunderstanding. And so I say just keep it simple, and remember it's important for you to communicate your love, reassure your partner of your love, give them the gift of respect, and instead of taking the tack, well, if you deserve it, I'll give it, because in turn, do you want your partner to say, I'll give you love when you deserve it. I'll love you if you're good enough. No one wants to live with that kind of relationship. And so, keep it simple. There are two fundamental needs underneath all the talk and the issues: love and respect. Be willing to give that as an undeserved gift to your partner. That's what the Bible would call grace.